So now we're going to be looking at what's called composite volume, or instead of just one solid shape, we're going to have shapes that have been stacked together, and we have to find the total volume either by adding or subtracting. So our first one, we've got this three-layered kind of cake made out of cylinders. So to find the total volume of this shape, we're going to find the volume of each individual cylinder and then add them together. So let's start. This one's 1, this one's 2, this one's 3. So volume is equal to pi r squared times the height. So we're going to say volume of number 1. Volume of number 1 is 3.14. 2 squared times 4. So the volume of our first layer of the cake, we're going to use our calculator here. We get 4 times 4 is 16. That's the easy part, but 16 times 3.14. So we get 50.24 inches cubed of volume for the first layer. Volume 2, pi r squared times the height again. So the volume of our second shape is 3.14. 4 squared times 4 again. Another layer there. 4 times 4 times 4 here. Gives us 64. 64 times pi, 3.14. Multiply all that together, we get 200.96 inches cubed. Last but not least, volume 3, still a cylinder, pi r squared times the height, 3.14. Radius here is 8, still a height of 4, so 8 times 8 times 4 times our pi, and the volume of the third layer is 803.84 inches cubed. So to get our total volume, we have to add all three of those numbers together. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And we get 1055.04 inches cubed. If we were to round it to one decimal place like it asks you to do on your homework, round to this one, the 4 does not round up. So this cake has 1055 inches cubed worth of volume. Maybe we have a cylinder with a cone that's been taken out. Maybe this is a pencil sharpener. Kind of think of that, pencil sharpener. So what I like to do in problems like this is look at each individual shape, cylinder, and a cone, find their volumes separately, and then decide what I need to do with them. Do I need to add them or do I need to subtract them? Cylinder, we've already been using that formula, pi r squared times the height, so the volume equals 3.14 times 7 squared times 14. Multiply all those numbers together, so 7 times 7 times 14 times 3.14. So the volume of the cylinder is 2154.04. I'm not going to round it until the very, very, very end of the problem, so I'm going to leave this decimal since it ends. If it was a repeating decimal, I would estimate it. Or if it was a pretty long decimal, I would estimate it back. But since it just is 2 decimal places perfectly, I'm going to leave it. Now we're going to find the cone. Cone is pi r squared times the height divided by 3. So we still have the 3.14. The radius is still 7 because the cone and the cylinder share the same radius. But the height of the cone is 9 all over 3. So 7 times 7 times 9 times 3.14 divided by 3. So I did everything on the top, and the last step was divide by the 3. the volume of the cone, 461.58. I have to decide how do these two volumes interact. They have to subtract each other, so I'm going to take 2,154.04 minus 461.58. And our total volume of this shape is 1,692.46, rounded to one decimal place like it asked for on the homework. So the 6 causes the 4, gamma 5. Don't forget to put our units, inches cubed. Alright, maybe I've got an ice cream cone here, modifying the total volume. So I see a cone, and I see a half sphere. So for the cone, volume equals pi r squared times the height divided by 3. So volume equals 3.146 squared times the height 14 all over 3. So 6 times 6 times 14 times 3.14. Divide that by 3. So the cone is 527.52 inches cubed of volume. Half sphere formula, we have a few different choices. I like to kind of use the whole sphere, and now at the end I'm going to divide by 2. You could also just as easily use this formula and save yourself the division by 2 step. Either way, we've got 4 times 3.14 times our radius cubed all over 3. Eventually I'm going to divide that by 2 because it's just a half sphere. So I take 6 and cube it times 4 times 3.14. Divide that by 3. And so my halfway step, I get 904.32 for this. I have to divide that by 2, and I get 452.16 inches cubed of volume. These two shapes are adding volume to each other, so we're going to add them together. So the total volume, when we add these two numbers together, is 979.7 when rounded inches. Whoops, looks like meters. I didn't lift up my hand far enough. Inches cubed. And that is the composite volume.